let's say at the end of the last World War, there was these shadow citizens, and you wonder why they're not, you know, referred to like that. People are looking into redemption and things like that. On the accounting side, they run into the word shadow all the time. When Social Security is brought up, of course, that's another subject. Oh my, is that another subject? But shadow, 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 shadows. You see, why is shadow citizen, the term shadow citizen or shadow citizens, never brought up? Well, number one, because they're trained not to mention it. Number two, they're trained to never show it. And number three, well, it's probably not their name anyway. Let me see. I'm sure you've run across many of them with their famous actor names, right? Life must be a bitch on the big stage. I'm sorry, forget my language again, I'm sorry. When you've got, let's see, attorneys by the name of James Cool, or maybe a hairstylist named, Susie Sales. They've even got interesting position names too. It's unbelievable. They'll say lifestyle specialist, or they'll say house decorating sculptor or house decoration scientist. Oh, and by the way, her name is, Denise Diamond. Are you freaking kidding me, man? And they're people there, literally, you can use the term. See, they even have people using the term brainwash. Well, as it seems to me, if you think and you have any idea how these people think, or whatever they are, they're too damn evil to be human, but it's far from clean. It hadn't been washed, it's been contaminated. So, being that they've been brain contaminated since childhood, once you comprehend that part, it's not so hard to comprehend anymore. But, you know, it's like the true Americans, the inheritors of this land. We still have to live with all the damage that these, since they're shadows, we don't even know what to classify them as. So, whatever they are, I just say whatever they are, with all the damage that they inflict, draining your time, your energy, your monies, and your processes that the true Americans are supposed to have. What we may do. No. What we are supposed to be able to do. Processes, things like that, with no problem. As a matter of fact, anybody other than that would have to ask us, and that's the way it's supposed to be. But these shadow citizens, are they not conditioned and trained to live right next door to you, but only show their true color? Well, I should say there's only one color, it's black, but without showing their true color. See, the truth is, when you start to get into accounting, we'll get into that. Again, trust me. And trust law, accounting law, processes, banking law. That's my favorite part, by the way. See, you'll start to see, and I mean that with, like, as in real lies, with real eyes. You get it? Don't laugh, because that's gonna bring me to my next term here. The most dangerous weapon that whole regime has. I mean, this is just the way, this is just my opinion, but see, Nobody ever mentions shadow citizen, but nobody ever mentions as well, hardly, if not very rarely, a term called doublespeak. And I won't go into it here, but if you don't know what it is, you better. Because if I had to choose, because it is a communication, let's see. First of all, they can talk to us, but also be talking to that shadow group of shadow citizens. And the only way you get it is if you know the alternate meanings to such words. Yes, while the true Americans may only know one. So we take it as that. Never mind what colors they're wearing. Never mind how they're positioned in the back, of the person speaking. Should any people be in the back or around them? What colors are they wearing? What might that person speaking be doing with their hands? Every time that they bring up something that's not so true, that is true. If I had to give it a more proper term, I would probably say multi-communication, because that's exactly what it is. And then if you had to, nail it down to a shadow rule, well, maybe you could say, in public we speak as they do, but in private we do the opposite. Do you get it now? And if all of these things have been agreed to by the American people, well, we agree, because you'll hear that once you get to the accounting part of it. Well, acquiescence, you'll hear these words. Acquiescence. You agreed. No, we didn't. We sure as hell didn't agree. You see, there's simple terms for these things, and they are covered. Like fraud, deception. Oh, yes. And that's going to pretty much cover this, because this could go all day and all night for years. So I'll wrap this here. Yes, I'll just wrap it here. But, there is one other, well, I'll just mention a few of them, since I've already said that it would. And if you hung around to the end, good for you. I'll mention them again, though, don't worry. You see, the blame game. See, the patterns seem to always match something like, as soon as you violate, be quick to blame the victim. What does it do? It's one of the most impure, dirtiest, most dishonest, most unethical things you can do to someone, is to violate them, their life, destroy them, their life, and then turn around and blame them. Because what does it do? Right away, as they try to straighten that situation out, sometimes that takes the rest of their life. Just that one thing. Thus, it robs you of all of your time that they have also now taken or destroyed. And there is an end game. Isn't it funny how everything always goes back to accounting? Oh, we'll get there. So be quick to the blame game. What happens when you go to a government office? That's your government. You hired them. They do what you say. Just like when you hire an office assistant, not the other way around. They do what you say. But when they say, oh, we've never heard of that. That's not, yeah, it doesn't work like that, really. Show me. Show me which law says so. Better yet, could you show me your authority for refusing a true American their due process? See, the benefit seems to be, well, they get to run out of the courtroom while all these other innocent true Americans have to stand there and, be assaulted and kidnapped and everything else by the legions of, I've already mentioned it several times here. Shadow citizens, right? One more thing also, in mentioning multi-communication, it's not just a speech, people. You see, when you have the benefit of, or the advantage is more of a better word, of symbols, numbers, colors, knowing if they're being used or not, or knowing what the overall meaning of it all would be. You see how that works? It's really not a fair deal for the other side, but the next time, and there's a presentation on this too, the next time you hear somebody say, who said life was fair? And I swear to, the next one I hear say, my question would be, who is the one that came up with that? Let's see where they come from. People, don't ever let anyone fool you into thinking that life is not supposed to be fair. That is something that your Creator put in you, and we all know it. Don't ever let them tell you different. And that presentation is simply called Sayings. But the multi-communication thing, it's not just speeches. It has things to do with, well, it could be anything. I'll give you just one example, and I'm running out of time here. But see, most everybody has now heard of, everything in the supermarket or the grocery store. Well, God only knows what's in everything, right? What poisons have been put in whatever. And I guess that is still to be settled. But if you walk into a supermarket and you have certain, corporation-made things that might not be harmful or as harmful, and they have certain symbols on them that tell you so. Oh, this one is safe. It's okay to get this brand versus all the other cheap stuff where they, force everybody else to have to take, right? Being that they're living off everybody else's money, the ones that are supposed to have it. It works that way too, people. Oh, well, this is put up by this corporation. We recognize that symbol. It's got these characters on there as well. And that's what we were notified of earlier when blah, blah, blah. So yeah, these are safe. These are okay. Now, do you think that's fair? So the next time you hear somebody say, who said life was fair? Take their name, note it down, just keep it. Because you might just need it one day. Everybody take care.